At this point in our startup journey, we should have a successful business, but we're putting in a ton of work. You might think it's time for us to hire someone to help us do everything, but no. Pieter says this is the time for us to replace ourselves with robots, and not just one robot, but a whole army. We're talking about Chapter 7 of Make by Pieter Levels. While the term robots does make you think of things like Terminator or iRobot, Pieter's actually referring to cronjobs. Cronjobs are scripts that are just on a schedule to run at specific times of the day, and they're useful for things like backing up data, checking that your app is still running and texting you if it isn't, or updating your website with new data. Why is automation through robots or cronjobs better? Well, you have to think about why we're automating in the first place. We're trying to make our lives easier, and hiring just involves a new form of responsibility. You have to make sure that person is paid and properly trained, and people can also be pretty complicated. Even the best employees can have a bad day. On the other hand, robots are very consistent. They're very simple. They may take some time to code up at the beginning, but ultimately they'll save you a lot more time in the long run. And thinking about how much time automation will save you is actually a good test for when to decide that you shouldn't automate, because not all automations actually make sense. If the time to write the automation script is longer than the time it's going to save you, then you probably shouldn't bother writing the automation script. At this point, you might be wondering, are we talking about passive income? And no. To have gotten to this point in your business, you'll have put in a ton of work, and it wouldn't have been overnight. What the automation step does is it makes it easier for you to maintain the business in its current form. It frees up your time to explore other opportunities or even to add new features to your existing app. You'll still need to step in when things go wrong or when the market changes. And to conclude the chapter, Pieter gives us a test to help us measure how well automated our business is. To know how well automated your business is, you need to run it through something called the bus test, which is apparently something Pieter got from Urban Dictionary. And I have to say, this is probably the first book I've read that's quoted the Urban Dictionary. The definition is a thought experiment which explores the impact of losing a person. If a particularly empowered individual in an organization is hit by a bus, will the organization suffer greatly? If yes, fail. If no, pass. Now, the bus test doesn't just apply to your automations. It can also apply to things like paying the hosting company or your domain name company. Those things can be prepaid so that the app doesn't come down if you lose your credit card. That covers Chapter 7 of Make by Pieter Levels. Tomorrow, we'll talk about how to exit, and on Wednesday, we'll close out this book and maybe do some reflections and have a look at our next book. I'll see you then.